it's set. We'll email it to everybody that registered for the session and that is here today. I was talking about how there are times where we're in the dark and it's easier when you know where you are, right? But even then, to be honest, even though I know where everything is in my bedroom, I still stretch my hands out sometimes. I still take my feet when I'm moving them. I'm careful so that I don't bump into something because I don't want to get hurt. However, if I just reached out and turned on the light, everywhere will be flooded with brightness, right? And I don't then need to be careful. I can run, I can jump because I can see where everything is. Now imagine that you did not have a light switch, or you're in a certain place and you do not even know where the light switch is. Does that mean you're not going to move? It doesn't, right? What you then begin to do is you then begin to draw on past experiences. And unfortunately, if your past experiences have been me being in the dark and it's scary, you may not even want to move forward, right? But regardless of the past experiences, there are times in our lives where we just have to move forward. I put together a couple of slides just so that some of us who are visual learners can look at something and say, oh, yes, I got this. And so I will start to share right now. It's a Friday evening. I'm sure a lot of us have family and we just, you know what, we want to take a break after this. So I'm not going to keep us here for long, but I just want us to begin to think, right? One thing I know for sure is that this area right here, which I have called, well, it is pink. This area right here, the pink one that we all see, right, is one of the reasons why we worry. And that pink dot right there, this one, sometimes it never happens. But we fret so much about this one that we forget about this one. And this one is the likelihood that it happened. It is, to be honest, the same circle, right? So we can see that it's all part of the same circle. So that circle is representative of our life experiences, where we are today, our future, right? So that circle is what is before you. The things that are past, what happens is that they kind of scare you, right? So they say, oh, you know what? I'm in this situation right now where a parent is calling me at 6 p.m. What could have happened? We get worried. And why we get worried is because we have all these past experiences outside of this circle that shape how we look into our future. So that's what makes that pink segment so difficult. But the reality is that it may never happen. And so what we're going to do, and we will try and see how we can share experiences at all. So it's not only Ms. KK speaking, right? We will see how we can share and move us closer towards focusing on the green segment, which is something that most likely would happen, and not on the pink segment, which if we planned properly, if we did things properly, we will minimize the impact of that pink segment. My name is KK Okeifu-Ajayi, and it's really amazing having everybody here. I'm hoping that a few of our friends will join as we go along. But the reality is, even if it was one person, I would still do this, right? Because I'm a product of mentoring. I'm a product of coaching. Both people that I see face-to-face coaching and those I have never met in my life before, right? I'm a product of it. And so I know how important it is for somebody to take their time and just kind of share their thoughts on their journey with you, right? So this here are the top 5 reasons, and I did a bit of research into this, why people fret. There's a lot more. There's a lot more. Well, these are the top 5. And if you're here and you can relate with this, can I just see your hand up or show me with an emoji that, I'm worried about some of these. It would be nice. Can I see some reactions there? The future, how you juggle things, money concerns. Thank you, Juliet, I see you. How to retain and attract more customers. Thank you, Oyebola. Yeah, so these are a lot of times, thank you, Oluwatomiloba. These are some of the reasons why we worry, why we fret, right? We worry and say, you know what is my future looking like? How am I, thank you so much, Lara, for that. How am I going to move into my future from where I am today? It is worrying. And there's a reason why we worry, right? It's not like it's something that is so far-fetched. How about juggling things? How do I juggle? It is one of them. Money concerns. I'm starting to have children. I just got married. I've just started a business. My mother needs help. My brothers need help. Money concerns. It's the end of the month. I'm going to pay salaries. How am I going to manage it? All of those are money concerns, and they're 100% valid. How to retain and attract new customers, even if your business just started or it's going to start tomorrow. Even if you're here and you're a class teacher, customers are what? Where you currently work, your colleagues, lessons, and maybe you have an extra business on the side. All of these, you're fretting as well as to how you can gain more. How about people-related concerns? That my colleague at work, that my staff, that my parent, my driver, my customer, my mom, my dad, all of those things, right? They're all people-related concerns. And we all have them. I have them. You have them. Like it showed by you raising your hands. We all have these concerns. But are we going to sit in these concerns and not move forward? Again, the answer is no. I'm going to share a poll very shortly. And just as we're going into this session, as I begin to introduce the next session, I will share a poll. And I would ask that you kindly take some time and fill that poll. It is not a very long, it's not a very long poll at all, right? It's going to take you what, 4 or 5 clicks and you're done. And I have just shared the poll now. So please kindly just fill the poll. These are my 5 pillars, right? For life and for my business, for doing a lot of things. There's some other pillars, but a lot of them feed off of this 5. What is my definition of success, right? Does this align with worrying about the future, worrying about people, worrying about money, worrying about how to retain and attract customers? What is your definition of success? What is my definition of success? How confident and resilient am I in the face of where I currently am? It is so important. Where is my confidence? What is my resilience factor? Extremely important. What are my core values? What are your core values? You that is on this call right now, what are your core values? Do you recognize them in your team members, in yourself, in the way you do things, in the way you talk to people? You know, what are those values? How about your personal brand? Do you have one? The reality is all of us, we have a personal brand, every single one of us. You might not be aware of your personal brand, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. People see you and they think about you. People don't see you and there's something about you that resonates on the inside of them. When they talk about you, there's something that they say. All of those are indicative of your brand. So it's not just what you think about yourself or who you think that you are. Your personal brand is much bigger than that, right? And we need to be aware of this. The last one is your work-life integration, all right? And I say work-life because, to be honest, one of the ways why I know all of you is professionally, right? I don't think there's anybody here that I met outside of work. I know most of you professionally. And so when you begin to think about that, then you realize that work becomes a huge, huge deal, even in how people relate to one another, right? In the way you meet new people, in the people you begin to confide with. Work always comes into play. I'm going to end the poll now, and I'm going to share the results, just so that we can, of course, it doesn't show your name, but it kind of shows where everybody is at, because I think it's important that we see the results. So if you look at this, we have most of us here are in the education sector. Most of us are self-employed. We have a few people who are employees, but most of us are self-employed. Now, when we think about what causes the most anxiety, for a lot of people, it's money. And for a lot, it's the future, right? And then, of course, we look at getting customers and then just juggling everything. And that's it. And some of us have ticked more than one, which is okay. Because the reality is that there is more than one thing that causes us fear, that causes us anxiety. It's not only one. We're not put in a box like that, right? And then how empowered do you feel, right? And that, again, really important. And we have people who feel somewhat empowered. Some people say I'm trying, and some say I'm drowning, and that's the reality of life. But as we go further in this session, I will show you that you're drowning and how you feel, how empowered you feel, how somewhat empowered you feel is based on what you're looking at. As you look at this slide right now, what is flowing through your head is, I like these colors. Maybe you think, I like how the slide looks. Maybe you're not even looking at the slide. You know what, you're doing something else, and I'm just on play, like a, what's the word, like a podcast, right? I'm just playing. Kike's voice is in the background. And again, that's okay. But the way that you look at life, what you look at in life determines honestly what you see. There's stuff going on around me right now, right? My niece and my nephew are in, my sister is in, my son is in, he has SATs tomorrow. There's another meeting I'm supposed to be going for right after this one. All sorts of things that are happening, but all I am focusing on right now is you guys. And if all that you focus on is this screen right here in front of you, that's all you're going to see. But is that all there is? The answer is no. Let me give you another example. And it was interesting that I heard, what's his name, Bankole Williams, using this same example that day. And I'm like, oh, so it happened to him as well. There was a day I was going on 3rd Mainland Bridge. I had a meeting with somebody in Alausa. I was meant to present. So I build websites. And so there was a technology meeting. They needed support with one technology element. So I was meant to go there and present. So I got there. And on my way there, to be honest, we left there with plenty of time. All of a sudden, as we're on the bridge, I heard, oh, my tire. Thankfully, I wasn't driving and I wasn't alone in the car. So I had a driver, and then a member of my team who was going with me was in the car as well. And so, of course, we managed, because we're on the right side, left side of the 3rd Mainland Bridge, heading out towards Ikeja, you know, so that we'll take the bridge, turn around, get back to Alausa. So that's how we're heading out. And we're on the very innermost lane on the left. And I heard that. And immediately we slowed down, right? Because you slow down very gently. And then we moved out into the right lane and parked the car. We parked the car. We started to wonder what could have happened. I had a spare. We got out our spare and we fixed it. Shortly after that, another car, this time around it was a bus, passed by that road while we were fixing our car. And you know, they didn't even move to the right like we did. They just stayed right there, and they came out. Those guys didn't even have a spare tire. But you see, what happened is that created a fear on the inside of me. Every single time after that, and this was before COVID, before that incident happened, I used to drive on the 3rd Mainland Bridge without a thought. And I liked that inner lane, to be honest with you. I don't know why, I just liked it. After that incident, every time I'm on 3rd Mainland Bridge, I don't drive on that last lane, never. Even after they fixed the bridge. So you know, guys know that they fixed the bridge, they tarred it, they did all those things to the bridge. I still wouldn't drive on that side of the road because I was always worried about if that was going to happen to my tire again, every single time. Actually, all of my drivers know. When they are there, I tell them, don't go there, don't go there. So they know that I don't drive there. I don't like people driving there up to a certain point on the bridge. And after that, you can go there. What happens there? That's up to the point where it happened, you don't drive there, right from my office in Lekki. After that point, it's okay. That became a fixture in my head. If all we see are the problems that we currently have, then we're never going to be able to see the solutions. And I'll give one more example before we move on to the next slide. My executive assistant, and I'm putting this here, so this slide here, so that you guys can begin to think about this right now. So my executive assistant, we moved into a new building for my college, right? So when we moved in there, my windows were blank, you know, and there was a lot of light, because the way this building is, a lot of light was coming in, which was beautiful. But then there was one right behind my table, and it used to affect my eyes, right? So it would reflect on the screen, and it was difficult for me. So I said to her, oh, let's get blinds. And so we got blinds. Unfortunately, I used my oboju to measure the blinds. So we didn't measure it. We didn't measure it properly. And so the blinds were shut, right? So just imagine that this is my window. This is my window. So let me draw on the screen. Imagine that this, let me just annotate that with, yeah. So let me use this one. I'll remove it later. So if this is my window, the blinds kind of stopped here. So these were the blinds. These areas were open, and that became the problem. And I said to her, I said, I need you to please fix this, right? So that we don't have problems. And she said to me, oh, we can get the blind guy to do this. He said he can do this. And I said, okay, that's fine. but what else can we do? And we went over and over some solutions, and we honestly kept coming back to getting the blind guy. And one day I said to her, I said, no, it doesn't have to be the blind guy. There can be something else that we do. Go and think about a solution. Don't tell me the solution is already on the table. You go think. Our last success, right, is a limitation on our future success. Please, if you didn't write that down, write it down. Your last success can be a limitation on your future success. Why? You keep looking at your past and saying to yourself, I did it like this. And we hear it all the time. What brought you here will not take you away from here. How you came here will not take you to the next place. Da, 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 da. We hear it over and over again. But that doesn't mean anything, right? That's what we know. When I became a parent, and I don't know about you guys, some of you might not be parents, and some of you might be. I said to myself, the way my parents brought me up, I will never do that. Usai. A lot of the things that I started to do, I noticed that I would hear my mother's voice in my head, like literally. And I'm like, my mother would have done that. Why? That's the only way that I had known that I had learned what parenting was, right? And so it's extremely important that you say to yourself, what are my limiting belief systems? Now, these 4 things I beg your pardon, that I put here might be part of your limiting belief systems. You need to break them down. Okay, if you break down your limiting belief system concerning your current job, concerning your business, concerning the things that you do, and limiting systems, honestly, are the way you've always done those things. That is part of it. On my team, they know. I don't like hearing things like, this is how we do it here. I don't like hearing things like that, because that is the killer of innovation. That it is working doesn't mean that is the best way. No. So if you really want to stop fretting, you need to be able to define some of these things that I put here. Why? Look at this. Your definition of success is extremely important. When you know what success means to you in different areas of your life. For me right now, health doesn't have to do with whether I'm fat or slim or short. Health is the fact that I'm keeping my BP low. That is what health is to me. The fact that I can keep my BP at a certain level means to me that I'm healthy. And that's what I need to know. Of course, I'm doing my exercises. Of course, I'm watching XYZs, but that I can keep that BP at a reasonable level, at a level that, you know what, is fine. That is what success means to me. And then I can confidently go about my day doing the things that I need to do, because I know that I'm being successful in that area of my life. All right, so that is why I need you to define these things. When you begin to define them, you begin to understand where your fret is coming from. What is your why concerning money? What is your why concerning your clients? Why is your business why does your business exist? Right? If you are a trainer, or you're a consultant, or you're a coach, you're a school owner, you're an employee, why are you in that place? When you understand why you are in that place, you can sell your value. If you don't understand why you are there, you cannot sell your value. It's impossible. When you are unable to sell your value, then how, based on whatever your success is, would you meet it? Right? And again, money comes in there, right? Because once you can sell your value, your value will be rolling in. Those alerts will be doing ching, 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 ching. And that what becomes important. So if you're here and you're an employee, for example, maybe you work in a school. So let's use education, right? Because we all clicked education. And you work in a school. What is that school's reason for being? Has that school defined what their core values are? I'll give you an example. Somebody called us today, a lady. She called and she has 3 children. They just moved to the area where my school is located. And she said to me, oh, she was looking for schools around and somebody mentioned us, but then she realized that she had seen us when she was moving in. And so she's like, oh, you know, let her talk to these people. And she started to talk. And she said, also, how about my entry fees? Da, 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 da. And she started to talk. And I remembered immediately that we're in a stage where the 10,000 naira I'm going to collect for entry fee or for entrance fee, It's not a big deal at that time. So I said to her, you know what, because she talked to me first. And I said to her, you know what, I know you're thinking about the fees and all that, but that right now is not the most important thing. The most important thing for us as a school is that we can meet you where your needs are. Is that we can say to you, this is who we are, and you tell us who you are, and we can say, oh, you know what are your ideas for your children? We can meet you, you'll be fine here. That for me was what it was. Why? Because one of our core values, and we do have our core values listed, is S. We need you to be secure, that we care about you, and secure is also having a support system, right? So I knew what my core values are, and so success for me is getting those 3 children, not about getting 10,000 naira or 15,000 naira on a form and not getting the children, right? So in your school, you need to be able to define that. And I'm not saying it's bad to collect, I collect it, but what exactly is where you are right now? What is that battle that you're fighting? Do you want to lose the war, but win that battle? No. So you need to be able to define that. And when you can define your why, all these other things come into play. And when you do this, guess what? You're one step closer from removing the threat. And then you then begin to communicate that to everybody that is around you. Another reason why you might be fretting and why those definitions that you clicked, right, the things that causes fret, is about society. Society always has something to say. Does it mean that they are true? Not really. They just have something to say. Does that now have to become your conscience? No. Does that need to become who you are? I will say again, no. But you need to be able to say to yourself, why do I need society to accept me? Why should what other people think become what is the most important in my life? You need to be able to ask yourself those questions and get the answers. And then what are your fears? What are you really afraid of? What are you really fretting about? Is it that you don't have money today or you're never going to be able to make money? Is it that you feel that your business cannot survive in the long run? What exactly is causing those fears? And then finally, what do you believe? What do you believe? What you then, based on what you believe, you can get the people who work with you to make final adjustments. Adjustments to the way you do things, adjustments to why you do things the way you do, adjustments to your communication systems, adjustments to so many areas of your life. But first of all, you need to be sure that you have the right definitions of success. I particularly love this one, our conditioning system. I was talking to somebody 2 years ago, and we were talking about children and just us and how we are as human beings. And he said, KK, I was conditioned to be where I am today. I said, really, why do you say that? He said, a lot of the times when I was growing up, I was the firstborn. And as the firstborn, there were certain things that it was not okay for me to do. And so I grew up feeling that it's not okay for me to do those things. But who said so? Some of the barriers, right, that are causing that threat to keep happening in your head is a conditioned reality. Don't let the conditioning win, break it. International Women's Day was a couple of days ago on Tuesday, and the theme was break the bias. And I thought it was beautiful. And a lot of these things are biases. Conditioned reality, augmented reality, something that has added to it to make it social media. They're augmented realities. They're not real realities, but they're augmented. They make it look like, it's true. Your window reality, how that window that is opened up again within society, and you can look into somebody else's life and compare it with yours and say, the man in the mirror is not quite what the man in the mirror should be. Those are window realities. How about your perceived realities? Simply because of your past experiences and where you are going, you have a reality that you have perceived you should have. And that doesn't make it real. It is all part of the experiences around us. Are you going to let it win? Are you going to let those experiences win? No. What you want must be bigger. It must be stronger, and you must push towards it. Now, this is the interesting one, right? And we will wrap up very soon. Like I said, I don't want to keep us here for too long. There's a fight inside of you, and that's why that threat keeps coming. Your logic versus your emotions. They're constantly fighting. What should I be doing versus what do I like to do? What is the logical thing versus what I've always known? That is your logic versus your emotion. Depending on which one we focus on the most, honestly, it would either feed your fear or feed your hope. So you must ask yourself, which one am I going to really be looking at? The light green dot or the darker green dot? And you must ask yourself that question. When we look at money, which honestly is a valid fear, what are the ways that you spend money? Do you think about them logically? Do you have a list? I have a list of what I spend money on. A friend of, I was in the choir. I've not been back to church. I've been doing online church for a long time now. So I haven't been back to church for a while. And one of our choir members is getting married. And so he sent me his ashwebi. And I've been fighting with myself because one, I'm not even sure that I will go for the wedding, you know. And so logic versus heart. How do I disappoint this guy and not buy the ashwebi? Should I just give him the money? Or should I just buy the ashwebi and keep it? Do I need to spend that money on that ashwebi? What do I really care what he thinks of me? And this again is my barriers. When I keep focusing on how somebody else thinks, I'm not going to move forward. So I need to begin to think about logic. Does it mean I can always be logical? No, because we're human beings. And there are situations where I cannot be logical about certain things, right? But till I get logical, I need to understand the fact that my value systems, and I'm going to go back there, my value systems should drive me. My why should drive me. And when you are clear about your why, things are slightly easier. All right. So I want you to take a look at this. And these, you need to identify where you are. Are you in number 1, number 2, or number 3? Whenever you start your journey, whatever journey it is that you're starting, you want to go to a new school, to do a master's, a PhD, your first degree, a certificate course, that's your number 1. You're just starting your business is just starting a new product, you're carrying out a school improvement, you just started a new job in a new school, you're just teaching a new subject, whatever. There's always the number 1, all right? And in your number 1, you have idea and ideation. And the next couple of sessions that we would have, I will break up some of these things one-on-one, right? This is like our introductory session, and we'll keep diving deeper into how you can be a better business person. But I need you guys to understand this first, all right? If you don't understand this, when we move on to the tougher nuts to crack, it might be slightly more difficult, right? So I need to lay this foundation, and then we'll move on with this. Your idea and ideation are 2 different things. Your idea of who you are and how you carry that idea of who you are 2 different things. In the idea phase, it's an idea, it's a dream. When you put it down to paper and begin to talk about it to people and begin to put things in place to make it happen, that's ideation. You are doing something about your idea in your ideation phase, and it's a learning phase. Where are you right now? Are you in the beginning? Are you taking the first steps and you're expecting that you will scale a 10-meter wall? Are you? If where you are, and it's okay to be in the first phase, it doesn't mean you're not going to go to stage 3 or stage 10. No, but recognize where you are in phase 1 and stop stressing yourself. You are in phase 1, and people stay in phase 1 for years. That's your proof of concept phase, right? And it's okay. It is okay, but you need to understand where you are. If I am in phase 1, why the heck do I think I can do things in phase 2 and 3 confidently? I cannot. I'm not fit. I don't know how. That I am seeing people doing it doesn't mean I can. My window reality needs to change. What window am I looking through? I need to shut that window. And your window could also be the people around you. So be careful where you are in your journey and who you are sharing that journey with. That you've started a new job or you are doing a job and there are certain elements you don't know in your job, and your job requires a phase 3 skill, doesn't mean you are not in phase 1. You are in phase 1. Give yourself grace. Take a deep breath and say, I am in phase 1, but how do I move from here? And you might not be in phase 1 in every area. It might be in one area that you're in phase 1. So your phase 1, like I said, is your idea and ideation, and I've explained the difference between both. Your phase 2, and if you have any questions or you want to share, please let me know in the chat box. I'll be more than happy to have you share. Your phase 2 is when you go into full implementation. So this work I'm doing, I finally understand most of it. I'm still making some mistakes, but on the whole, I'm doing well. This marketing campaign, they say we should use Instagram for my school. Okay, I have an idea what I need to do on Instagram. Okay, you know what, on Mondays, can we post pictures of the teachers or an inspirational quote? On Tuesdays, no, let's not post on Tuesdays, let's post on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, can we post a tip for parents? Okay, that sounds good. No. If I post inspiration on Monday, and post quote on Wednesday, it will be like I don't know what I'm doing. On Wednesday, let's post Wonder Wednesday. There's something a child did that is most wonderful. Wonder Wednesdays, we highlight the children or we highlight the staff on our Wonder Wednesdays. So on Thursday, throw back. Let's throw back. Let's throw it back to something that was fun, was not, whatever. Right? That's your idea and your ideation together. You then move into or doing it. That's when you then realize that, hey, taking these pictures, oh my goodness, I can't do it by myself. Which of my staff do I have that I can give it to? Which of my team members can I learn it from? That's you in your phase 2. And we all have phase 1s, even as we move along in our lives. I'm starting something new. I've never done it before. I'm really worried. I want to do, so I'm gonna, you guys are the first that I'm telling. And I'm so worried. I can't even believe, yeah, so I'm thinking, I'm worrying, I'm fretting about it, but I just said to myself, okay, let it go. So I'm putting together a school conference. I can't believe I've said it. And it's virtual. It's 100% virtual, 100% for schools, school leaders. So let me stop because I'm still in that phase where I'm fretting and I'm sweating just thinking about it, right? But it's something that I'm moving ahead with. And I'm in my phase 1 on that project. Do I have skills that are in phase 3? Oh, yes, I have in phase 10 safe. But in this project, because I've never done a school conference that I hope will be that big, it's going to be in August. But in that place, I'm in phase 1. I'm saying to myself, where am I going to get all these speakers for all this? It's a 2-day conference for all these areas. And then I take a deep breath and I say, okay, go into this as your idea. Begin to break it apart. Don't be so quick to run with the first idea. I beg you, don't. When you run with the first idea, sometimes you're not giving yourself grace. Thank you, Lara. Sometimes you're not giving yourself grace to consider all the other elements that you should be looking at. So please don't do that to yourself. Also, when you are running with that idea without giving yourself the ideation process that you need to grow and to step into your power in that idea, what happens is when you begin to implement, it will be sketchy because you don't even have the full picture. And that begins to lead to overwhelm. You're getting overwhelmed because guess what? All that I need to do, I cannot see it clearly, but I meant to do it. Come on. Remember that circle I showed us at the beginning? I will draw the circle again so that we can remember it. It was a circle like this. And guess what? This portion, right? This huge portion was what we were afraid of. But that segment right there was our reality that it may never happen. Never. The things that we fear the most, right, may never happen. They only happen because our limiting beliefs hold us there. They hold us there. They stop us from moving forward because we feel it's not going to work. It will work when you give yourself time to do what needs to be done. But we're always rushing. Stop rushing. Take a deep breath. Your phase 2 is full implementation and business clarity. No matter how much you have done your ideation, when you begin to walk in your power, begin to move in the fullness of that idea, there will be loopholes. Because I love my husband doesn't mean that we still don't fight. We do. Because I love him doesn't mean that we don't have, there are not areas where I'm wondering, these guys are. They are. We've been married 17 years. So it's not something that people would assume, but it does. When you go into full implementation, you get business clarity. Without full business clarity, there are some things that you will never achieve. Wait, relax, pace yourself. In every single project that I have, I break it into modules. What do I do first? What comes next? After that, what? What am I doing in the first phase? How about the second phase? And the third and the fourth? I sit down, I plan it, and I don't do it alone. Why? I don't have all the ideas. Even if I have 2 hands. I need people. And we would go soon to show you about people. In that phase 2, there is growth, there's visibility, and you have money needs. Either money to train yourself, money to get a coach, money to get a mentor, money to fully run that idea, whatever. But with business clarity, you already are beginning to gather data. You need that data to ensure that you can move fully into your phase 3. An old member of staff came to see me on Monday, and she was talking about fantastic things that she was doing. And I was looking at her like, this young lady is what, 27? I'm looking at her like this. You know how you're looking at somebody like, hey, African wonder. So that's why I was looking at her. I was so thrilled with her. And as she was talking, she started telling me how she needed investors. I said, stop right there. What do you need investors for? She said, well, the business. I said, why will you need investors when you're in a proof of concept space? Stop it. You're going to run into trouble. And you're going to run into that place where you cannot pay back the investors. Guess what? Because you don't know if the business will survive. I said, start small. How many products do you have right now? She told me. I said, stay with that. Don't go beyond that. Don't. In doing that, you begin to know who wanted 10. What did they want 10 of? How did they feel when you were talking to them? How fast did you sell it? Did you sell on WhatsApp? Did you sell on Instagram? Was it on Facebook? Was it by talking on Twitter? You need to have all of these areas. Sometimes we as business owners, as workers, as human beings, we have tunnel vision. Remember what I said earlier. Don't look at just that solution and assume it's the only one. There are many. Many, many, many. But if all you see, right, is that one solution, you're never going to move. And so what happens is that you limit your business. You become polarized in that phase where you are. Because guess what? You are thinking that you have arrived. You have not. You need to slow down. And slowing down doesn't mean stop it. Slowing down means you are gathering the energy to what? Power you to the next level. That's what business is about. And that's what begins to bring the overwhelm, begins to cause the fear, begins to cause the worry, because we're moving faster than we should. And guess what? We see that it is not quite working. When children are between the ages of 2 to about 4, thereabout, sometimes younger, some children begin to stammer. They begin to stutter. They begin to, you notice all of that. But then for some children, it goes away. Some children, it doesn't. What is happening is that the child's brain is producing much more words than the child can utter. And so the child is struggling to bring out those words. And so they would stutter. A lot of times, stuttering is not 80% of the time. It is something that is a phase, and it would pass. But if we talk about it, and all of the children that have stuttered in my school, only one of them, one still stutters today. One. All of the others lost that stuttering when they were much younger. Once they moved, because I told the parents, I said, stop it, leave the child alone. They said, oh, maybe one of your teachers that stuttered. I said, I don't have any teacher that stutters. This is what is going on in your child's brain. This is what is happening. And I can bet you 100% it will pass. Do this, and you will see that it will pass. And from, like I said, 80-90% of them it passed. It's just that the one that still stutters, right? And he says, he'll be like, because I stammer. And I said, what do you mean because you stammer? Who told you stammer? Somebody has said that to him. And so he keeps repeating it because that becomes his reality. And he would live within that reality because we are not giving him a chance to experience other realities. You move to your phase 3. Phase 3 is your expansion phase. That idea, you don't give it back for ground. You can begin to move and spread out that idea. In your school, where you're moving from nursery into primary, or you're even running primary and nursery, give yourself grace to understand that, guess what, I need to grow. You run a training program. Like today, I had over 100 registrations, but we're 10 here today, 10, and that's okay, right? That is okay. I'm not fretting about it. This is my first one. Of course, I'm going to give myself grace. And then we'll begin to grow as people get the value of who you are. As people begin to understand what you do, guess what? People begin to buy that idea. It is just not another person saying free training and they're trying to sell. Right? They will come tell us nonsense. We don't learn anything, but then we live there. They will say we should buy something. I beg, I'm not going. Everybody should rest. Till you prove yourself sometimes, nobody else will talk about you. The next time I send the link for the training for next month, because we will have another one next month, I want this to be monthly sessions. You will tell your staff, you will tell other people to say register. Better register, because this training that we got was fire and it was free. Better register. Why? Because you can communicate the value. You are a solution to people's needs. In your phase 3, you are expanding. What are the things that you need? When I got pregnant, right? So this is me getting pregnant, right? Initially, the stomach was not big like that now. Let me use a pen so that I can, where's my pen? I found you. So, right, woman with small stomach, right? And then guess what? Woman with bigger stomach, right? And when I had a bigger stomach, at some point, I had to put my hand on my back when I'm walking. At some point, I had to tilt backwards when I was walking, but initially, I wear high heel and press. As you begin to expand in your business, your support systems begin to change. When you are in phase 2, envisage the systems, the legs, the holding of weights that you need in phase 3. If not, your phase 3 will not crash and will take you back to phase 1. You don't want to go back to phase 1. You don't want your clients to see you back in phase 1. You would lose them. And we will talk about this, okay? I promise you. Maybe next month, I'll let you know what we're going to be doing so that you can be ready for that and you can come with your questions. But we're going to look at all of these things. How do you own phase 1 properly? How do you own phase 2? How about phase 3? If you don't have the right support structures, you would not be able to retain your customers. I can tell you that for a fact. Our numbers have not gone below 200, none. They've gone much higher, right? But they've not gone below 200. Why? We have fine-tuned some processes. They cannot go below 200, except something, I don't know, happens. I don't know what it's gonna be. There are ways that you do this, right? When I have training sessions, there's a minimum number that I have, that I need. And I always get my minimum number, always. There's just a way that you do these things. How is what we need to begin to look at. In making money during COVID, we had money to spend. We did. We didn't spend it all because that would have been stupid, but we had money to spend. Why? There are systems that you put in place that ensure you can do what you need to do. Do you even recognize what they are in your business? Do you recognize what your business needs? If you don't, and it's okay, right? That's your phase 1. It's like I said, somebody who's just starting to begin to use social media for their business. Because everybody talks about Instagram, it doesn't mean Instagram is the most effective. No. There's WhatsApp. How many of you actually use WhatsApp as a marketing strategy? How many? Not a lot of people. But it's a fantastic marketing strategy, I can tell you for a fact. And in one of these sessions, we're going to look at how you can use WhatsApp to market the business. And I'll give you assignments on what you need to do. And you will see that they work, all right? What are the things you need to be doing? Because when you begin to expand, guess what? There are more people who, when you begin to, and I even put some of that there, process reviews, client retention and attraction strategies, money needs, savings. What are those things you have to begin to do? Because once you have reached phase 3, your next phase is what? Innovation, right? You need to begin to innovate new products, new markets. You need to begin to do that. So that's phase 4. Once you've moved successfully from 1, 2, and 3, you can replicate this process. You can keep moving upwards. But you need to be able to say, where am I? And that's important. You need to be able to make that distinction and know where you are. These 4 are your business pillars, and you also need them in life, all right? I always tell my team that the things that I teach you guys, I'm not teaching you because you're a member of Busy Mind staff. No, I'm teaching you because they're the things I've used in my life to get to where I am today. We talk about work life, life work. To be honest, it's my life. I'm working or I'm not working, but it's my life. It's one life, right? So you can't compartmentalize things. Not really. These four are extremely important, all right? They're your business pillars. And I would drill down into all of these things. Who are people? What do you do with people? Your friends, your family. So we're going to look at these as professional, and then we'll look at them as personal. That's how we're going to run these sessions going forward. Professional part and then the personal part, okay? Because I believe that we should be able to manage both. There are times where it's a juggling act, to be honest. Which ball do I hold down? Which one do I drop? And we're all learning, aren't we? And it's okay, all right? So we're going to look at people. We'll look at organizational management, technology, business, and process planning. These four are very important. There's this, it's like a jollof rice framework. There are many different frameworks, to be honest, but that framework is extreme. It's interesting. Why? Because it shows you how through, and it can be stew framework, it can be frying dodo framework. There are all sorts. It tells you simply how you move from stage to stage, resource allocation, all of those things, resource usage, monitoring, business development, all of those. They're extremely important. All right, and we will crack into them. Like I said, I don't want us to stay here beyond 7 o'clock. And we're already, it's almost, it's almost 8 o'clock, sorry. And I don't want us to go beyond that. This is a SWOT analysis, right? And they're important. It is extremely important. So in one of our sessions, that's all we're going to do, SWOTs. So that you can truly know how to do a SWOT. This and the next phase are things I need you to begin to look at in this month. These are your wheel of life. A lot of times, the only thing we focus on is work and career. We forget that we're doing well with our family. We forget that spiritually we're in a great place. Emotionally, we might also be in a great place, right? But we look at some of these things and we forget that they exist. And there are many more wheels, right? Many more. On my planner, there were a few other, there's a wheel of life I put in my planner, and it really helps to be able to look at that. Now look at this wheel. Where are you doing well? Where are you doing amazingly on this wheel? Where are you doing not so well? You need to be able to answer those questions. You need to. And you need to not focus on the ones that you're not doing well, because that is a mindset strategy to keep you where you are and not move ahead in the other things, okay? Track your time. I beg of you, track your time. What time are you spending on the things you should be spending on to build? So I'm going to use another illustration. Every time I approach a project, anything, to be honest, even when I'm talking to people, anything, I use a project management. I actually want to go and do a master's in project management or certification. I'm sort of like to fully understand project management, because I use it a lot, the elements a lot. Everything you do, approach it with a project management mindset. What does that mean? If you need to do 3 things, of these 3, which is the most important? Which should come first? Which should come last? When you weigh them in terms of the impact they have on the overall goal, which is this one, right? Which one carries the most weight? When you understand which one, oh my goodness, go back there. Where are you going? When you understand, sorry guys, are we still here? Can you guys hear me? Hello, are we still here? Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, can you just put it in the chat that Ms. Keke, we can hear you. Okay, Temple, thank you so much. Ms. Temple, thank you. All right, so you guys can hear me. You guys are too quiet. Why are you guys so quiet? We can hear. All right, thank you. Please, 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 please. You guys should give me some ginger. You guys are too quiet. I mean, am I hitting the nail too hard? Yeah, please, please give me some ginger so that I know that I have people in this class. I'm not just here laughing. Thank you, Ms. Temple. That means so much. Loud and clear. Thank you. Fantastic. Okay. So we were here, right? And I was telling you how I use a project management framework, mindset, philosophy for a lot of the things that I do. If you're spending your time on the wrong things, you're not going to be able to do the right things. Well, you just don't have that much time in the world. You don't. It's 24 hours. It's a number of days, it's a number of months, it's a number of years, right? So yes, there are times where you're going to have to plan and weigh what you're doing. All right, so always be, when we talk about intentionality, these are the elements of intentionality. You need to think about it, or you're going to be fretting because you're not spending enough time on other things. You need to, my phone, if I show you my alarms, people will run away and be like, auntie, I have plenty alarms because I did forget. Or one thing seems to be so much more interesting than another, so I will not remember to focus on the one I should be focusing on. I'll be on one thing, but I need to get something to reset my brain for me. That's why I have all sorts of alarms, right? You need to. It is extremely, thank you, Kareem, thank you guys. It's extremely important, all right? And so have that project management mindset, and that way you can allocate your time and resources appropriately towards the big picture, all right? If not, you're gonna miss out on the big picture, okay? So let's move on to the next one. In this life, you have these three circles: what you need, what you want, and what you are able to do. All of it, right? It's easier when you have capacity. Based on what you need, it needs gap analysis, even if it is your wants. Your needs gap analysis tells you where you need to build capacity. If you want to start, like this project I just told you guys I'm going to do, a virtual schools conference. It's called School Rewired. It's called the School Rewired Conference. That's what it's called. And so with us right now, I'm building capacity, right, in certain areas. So I'm going to have people at the stage where people would, if you want to be a speaker, you register to be a speaker, and we consider whether you align with our values and what we want to do, right? So you need to have those value systems. You need to be able to say to yourself, what is my capacity and how can it meet my needs, right? How about my wants? Your wants usually are futuristic. I need this, but I wish I could do this. That's a want. Build capacity towards your wants, and that's okay, all right? So I don't want to keep you guys beyond the time. And now this is a framework. I don't think I can go into this framework. I posted about it on Instagram, but I can't get into this framework today. It's a Proverbs 30 framework, and it has nothing to do with Christianity, to be honest. It's just your brain, okay? It says that they're ants, and that the ants are small, but guess what? They plan all summer for the winter. They're storing up food all summer for the winter. That's futuristic in nature. Where you are today is not where you want to stop. So why are you only focusing on where you are today? Why? That's not where you want to be. Why you want to die here? Then what happens to your future? You will throw it away. No, man, no, sir. Be like the ant. They know that in the winter they cannot move around. Oh, a cold gun. You're right. So they might not even see a lot of stuff. It's buried under snow, so they can't even pick. So over the summer, what are they doing? They're picking and they're carrying it. And even in those places where they keep it, they must have a preservation technique. Or it doesn't matter if it is rotten, right? So you need to think like that. How about the hyraxes? They're small, but they build what? Their homes where inside the rocks. They're small, they're not even strong. Again, what are they doing? They're building resilience, right? So that they can be in a rock, because they know that nothing can shake that rock. That's them. And we'll go deeper into these things and what it means for your business. We can't. I've already gone 2 minutes over the time. Low costs. Look, I can't. Low costs. We will bring this back again. So again, I brought this back because I needed you to look at it, and we're almost done. The future, the how of juggling things, money concerns, how to retain and attract customers, people-related concerns. I need you to begin to look at these things differently and say to yourself, this is where I am. How do I get there to where I'm going? And you need to begin to plan for it. Look at the end to end of things and say, how can I bridge this divide? Fretting, honestly, would do you no good. It will just give you gray hairs. You see my gray hairs? Okay. It will give you gray hair. You don't want to have gray hair. So there's no point in fretting. Sit down and begin to plan adequately. If you don't know how to do it, get a coach, get a mentor, get a business clarity professional. We can guide you to where you need to be. But most importantly, you must see clearly where you want to go. Be it for the future, be it for juggling of things, be it for money concerns, be it for how to attract and retain customers, be it people-related concerns. If you do not see the vision that you have, you cannot achieve it. What you can see, you can achieve. There's a strong connection between here and this. Strong connection. And as I close today, I want to say this thing. I've said many, many, many things today. Many, many, many things. You might not remember all of them, but I need you to remember the fact that do not let society define you. Don't. You are your own person. Do not let where you are limit you from where you need to go. Don't. There are many areas of your life. There are many things that you want to do. How do you plan to move there? 3, always approach things with a project management template. 4, where exactly are you now? Stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3? You need to begin to think about these things. If you don't think about them, it'll be difficult to get to that space where you want to go. Difficult, right? So that's it. That's it for today. This is really what I wanted to talk to you guys about, because it's really important for me that, oh, Ms. Temple, you're interested. It's important for me that you understand exactly why you are fretting in your business, and most importantly, how to get over the overwhelm. All right. Does anybody have any quick questions? You're welcome, Emule. It was my pleasure, to be honest. It was my pleasure. Right. But really recognize where you are. Recognize where you are. And you will get the recording, like I mentioned. If you register for this, you will get the recording so that you can watch it again and just kind of internalize some of these things that I've said again, and then move very strongly in your power. Yes, please go back to the drawing board. And it's okay to go back to your drawing board many, many, many times. There are many times I've had to go back to my drawing board, and there's no shame in it. The shame is when we don't get to that place where we want to go. And even that, to be honest, is not shame. Maybe it just wasn't the time. All right. So thank you all so much. Let me let you guys go. God bless you. And I'll catch you guys in the next session. So I'll send out the link for you to register for the next session as well. Bye, everyone. Have a lovely evening.